Hey, this is Lasse from the rock band Flush, and I'm joined by Pedro Bergamo, the director of our new video Headspinner, which we're going to talk about in a second. Pedro, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We talked earlier about the fall weather here in Finland, and you coming from Brazil, you must be enjoying this.
Yeah, it's
the
something
darkness.
It's something very unique. The depth of summer.
We are back to the topic of death,
Yes.
which we'll talk about many times.
Yeah, like but seriously, we don't have this thing that the trees they die and then they rebirth like these colors. Is it ruska?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine when I moved here 6 years ago and had this first experience. It was something blown in my mind. It might be my favorite season because we don't have that in Brazil.
Well, there you go. And it's precisely the season that when the video was actually recorded, a few weeks later than where we are right now. We'll talk about the video in just a second, but just as an intro, Pedro is somebody whom we've known about a year and a half, I think. We got together to talk about music. Our first conversation was about, hey, could you design a new logo for us? Which you ended up doing, and the logo is great, but it wasn't a conversation about what do we want the logo to look like, but it was more deep conversations like what's the band about,
Yeah.
what is Flush, what's the essence of Flush, and that approach meant that we got to know each other and
I think the way that we got to know each other was absolutely a great story that people have to know that you were playing in a venue and then I was working a photographer and then I think I sent you an email.
Yeah.
And then you were like, well, not this one, but maybe something later. And then I said, well, I also do logo design, brand design. Do you guys, do you have like a very solid picture of what your band represents and stuff? And then you sent me a gigantic email. And I was so happy. And I replied to you like, oh, this is great. I thought that just me send these very long emails that nobody reads.
Now I remember, yes.
I think
yes,
that was the first connection that we had. And okay, we have to have a lunch and talk about things. And I think immediately we bonded.
I had almost forgotten about the long emails first. But yeah, and then that led us to starting to plan a video shoot. And I think, well, we liked the song Headspinner, you liked the song. What was it about the song and the script that kind of made you like this?
Yeah, I think I already had this idea before of making something, maybe making a music video in reverse in one take, and that phrase of yours, the fact that the head spinner first is short, and the second thing that it starts, this morning my alarm rang backwards and I was wide asleep. Yeah, that's the song we need to do for this song, because there are many bands that already made music videos backwards, but I never saw anyone breaking a guitar in a music video in reverse. Because if you break a guitar in reverse, it's going in the real thing is going to look like you're fixing the guitar and playing. And I think that would be very interesting to do. It started from there, and then like it became all the things. Okay, what else could we do in this party that it would look interesting if you're doing it like in reverse? And I think I'm very inspired by music videos like the ones that Chris Cunningham does, and he always have this very simple approach of having one thing, but then you do that one thing very well, and the result looks great.
And it does, and not only was it all done backwards, but it's in one take.
Yeah,
which we rehearsed a few times, but
many times.
Take, yeah.
We saw that we got there something like 9, and then we were rehearsing until 4 or 5 when the extras came.
Something like that, and you had to fight for actually doing it in one take because
yes.
your crew was not fully on board with that.
Not everyone was. They had their fears, and I understand the concerns. And there was a point that they cannot be done. It's going to be way easier to make takes. Like Coldplay made it in takes. Yeah. There's one take, there's this other take. And I was like, came to the band and I was like, oh, you guys are producing this video. You can listen to Reason or you can listen to Pedro Bergamo. And you guys chose Pedro Bergamo, and I'm very happy. Because in the end, we managed to do it.
We did, but it is done.
It was funny because we did one take, and then when we did this first take, we were like, well, it's good, but it cannot be that we did in one take. Let's make another one. And then we did the other one, and it's not so good as the first one, and we kept the first one.
Indeed. Yeah. So it is one take, and it is done fully backwards, just for the record. That's how it's actually done. Do you want to mention the crew who's working with you?
Yeah, big shout out to Samo Järvinen that he was on the camera, and he brought his friend Michael, that was a gaffer, taking care of the lights, and he was renting the equipment for us. Very nice guy. And I think I have to mention also Eero and Janne, that they were working basically as an assistant director, especially in the rehearsals, that Eero was like basically shouting to everyone, okay, this is happening. Lasse is now checking the corridor. And I think that's it. And then the extras that you brought it up. How did you manage to bring so many people?
Pizza and beer, I guess. No, but we were really lucky to bring in so many extras. It was one of the things that we were a little bit worried about, but people showed up, and for the modest price of beer and pizza, they turned the whole thing into a party on the video, and then afterwards as well. So we played a small show there after the recording, but that was awesome. Let's talk about the house, because the house is special.
Yes.
You like the house?
Yeah, the house is fantastic. If you want to talk a little bit about the lyrics, because there is a part in the lyrics that it brings up many things.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, it starts with kind of like a blues. First lines like, I woke up this morning, and the song is actually about waking up and feeling that something is off. Everything is a little bit backwards. It's like waking up in a David Lynch movie, and you feel that no, everything is all right. That's what the song is about. Melodically and musically, it has these Nirvana vibes. I think that's fair to say. It's fairly fast. It happens quickly. It's over in 2.5 minutes. And it even goes through like a black metal riff and other things. It's got a whole bunch of pop references in the lyrics as well. But it definitely, it mentions owls and David Lynch. So it definitely has a Twin Peaksy vibe. And I guess that's where the house... It felt like
because in Twin Peaks, the place he plays is one of the main characters. When you see this hotel with a lot of wood, there's something very off in this whole city, in the whole scenario. So I believe we would never be able to have done this music video in a studio. It had to be a place. And how did you find that house? What's the story of that house?
And it had to be that house with feeling as cold and damp as it was. But the house is actually located, we found it through coincidence, but it's located in Haga, which is a suburb of Helsinki, where we're from. And it happens to be that the band actually comes from Haga. So we knew the house from when we were kids. It was a halfway home, so a place for when you got out of jail, it was your first home to live in. So it was scary, spooky place back then. When you went by it, you went by really quickly because you were afraid of the house. Now it has a different purpose, but it was pretty cool that we actually got to record the video there, and we sort of dealt with our own childhood fears. And it definitely has a certain vibe, which I agree. We could not have done that video anywhere else.
And did your mom say like never go to that house? And
we just knew to stay away from the house. It had some scary looking people there too when we were kids.
Then you became the scary people now.
Indeed. And the fact that we were there where the band is from, it felt kind of good. And then, all these people turn up, which was really great. It was also, for me personally, it was kind of an emotional and weird and kind of dark time. Being there at the same time, I was going through, on a personal level, a whole bunch of things. One of them being the fact that my mom had died a few weeks earlier. She used to work in a building right opposite of where this house was. So I was kind of watching, I was seeing that building and like, now she's gone, and then we're doing it in the house. So I was going through quite a lot, and if that shows on the video, then it's actually real and genuine, and all the pressure of actually practicing.
It clearly does, and I can say without fear of contradiction that I would not have done that video without you. You really played a great role, and I think it shows in your eyes all this darkness and these things that are about to be released. there. And when I showed the first version to my girlfriend, and then she saw it and was like, "Oh, good job, Lasse." And I got angry. But what about me? I planned. I made everything. But of course, you shined, and it was great to have you there.
Shine by absolutely not shining. I'm just happy you didn't actually force me to do all the lyrics backwards, because that would have been impossible.
But good that you at least some of them, when you're playing with the band, you actually remember that. How was the process of memorizing those bits?
This is a challenge for anyone watching. Try to learn a song backwards. Quickly on the schedule. So the single and the video, they come out on October 25. So if you're watching this after that, then go and find the song on YouTube or wherever you listen to music. Our next single, Dive, comes out November 8th, and it also has a video directed by you, Pedro. Again, a very different type of video. And then the actual album, which is called Noises, comes out November 29. We play a special release show here in our hometown in Helsinki on Saturday, November 30th at Bar Loose. So if you're a local or if you happen to be around, then absolutely come and see us play. But yeah, that's Headspinner. We're really grateful and happy, and I don't know if there are words to describe how happy I'm of getting to know you and working with you. You kind of become an extended member of the band as well, because we seem to be doing so many things together. So we want to say thank you for doing this with us.
I thank you. It was definitely one of the best experiences I had as a filmmaker, and I'm super proud of this work. Can't wait for it to be out there for people to see it.
All right. Thanks, Pedro.
Thanks, bro.